All right, hey, I'm Eric Garcia, and I have the pleasure of being with Dr. Michael Sytsma. And this is going to be a very rich conversation, and we just wanted you to kind of join in to a dialogue between two friends. So thank you for being with me, Michael.
Thanks, Eric.
And, you know, I know we both share an incredible passion that we feel the Lord's given us to strengthen marriages and families. You sit in a very unique seat in the area of expertise that you have around sexuality and the culture and what's going on. And, you know, first I'd like to start off with, how did this come about with you? What gave you this passion, and how did you step into it? And then I want to dig into some stuff that I know you're chomping at the bit to get into, but your story, a little bit of your story would just be great.
I was teaching at a seminary recently and kind of listening to myself teach very specifically about sexuality. And I grew up in a very conservative background, holiness background. My father's a pastor. And while my parents were comfortable in talking about some of this, the culture really wasn't. And I'm listening to myself teach and wondering, God, how did I get here?
How did you get here?
How did I get to where I'm teaching about sexuality and using such blatant terms? And you know, sometimes you get an impression from God, and every once in a while you get a voice. And this was one of those rare voices. And what I heard back was, because you would say yes. And the implication behind it being, I looked around, this needed to be done. Tag, you're it. And my response to God was, so can I say no now?
Can I back out after how many years now?
And the answer was no. Actually, what I heard back was laughter, and the conversation was done. But very clearly, this is something that I've been called into, because it's not an area that I would choose. And in fact, you don't have to go back too many years before I would have not believed this. I started off to be a physician, and God called me into the ministry. And in doing that, I really wrestled with it, because I didn't think being a pastor was going to be a good fit for me. And took some addictions courses to learn what it's like for somebody to be an addict, not having any background or understanding of that. And began to really understand how people lived, and an empathy for what it means to really struggle with sin. And when I started pastoring then, I worked in starting churches.
Oh, church plants. You did church plants.
So go into an area and start up a church. And when you do that, we really, if you came to us from another church, we usually politely, but we invited you to leave. We wanted people who were not,
friendly place.
We wanted people who were not a part of the church.
Gotcha.
But when you bring people in from the community, they're often wounded.
Oh, all the stuff that comes with it.
Right. And